mine, so certainly good job there. Mortar firing away at this medical bunker. MG42 setting up here. And we see continued fire, and we see the German mortar setting up for a bit of counter-artillery fire, I suspect. Fresh half-track, me deciding not to give up just because I lost one. Just remembering not to move over there. Bunker very damaged, although it looks like this mortar team might be knocked out first. Grenadiers continuing to hit mines, and in fact very close to all of these mines. Grenadiers moving in as well, so a bit of presence finally in the north, making a bit more of a concerted effort. Half track moving in, 50 caliber machine gun firing away at the Grenadiers, killing almost the entire team. Quite nice, in fact. 3 kills already, a bit of damage but nothing serious. No anti-tank assets to actually present any threat to it. The 50 caliber machine gun firing away at the German infantry, doing quite a lot of damage, in fact almost down to half health already. And 1 grenadier down, forcing the rest to retreat. And we see an attempt from me to assault through here, going straight for the mortar and calling in a howitzer barrage right on the bunker. And we see the pioneer team being blown away. Engineers moving in from the east, forcing the engineer machine gun team to pull away. Quite wounded, in fact. Medic bunker down to the artillery barrage. Engineers moving in from the east and west, leaving very little except a grenadier team, mortar team, and a pack. Engineers ignoring the grenadiers more or less, going mostly westwards. I suspect very soon go try and knock out that mortar. A bit of further skirmishing in the northeast. Half track forcing back further. Grenadiers and Grenadiers are now opening fire on these Panzerschreck equipped grenadiers, taking quite a bit of damage, but still not as much as a pack, so that's alright. Forced to pull back, although the mortar is in a bit of poor condition. So far 3 infantry teams, not a lot, I dare say. And grenadiers moving in towards the half track, doing a bit of damage. Half track continuing to open fire, ejecting 1 rifleman team, leaving the gun unmanned, but can now focus on the grenadiers, who are still caught out in the open, but are getting veterancy 2 here, meaning they are getting elite armor. Although, mind you, elite armor does not mean bulletproof, it just means they'll take less damage from small arms and such. And they are certainly in a perilous situation. And let's go look at me and my forces, how things are looking. Got an infantry company, of course, and I'm going for the BAR upgrade at the moment. And I also have the first of the supply yard upgrades, meaning a lot less upkeep for my troops. Half tracks trying to dodge the grenadiers, making a move around the bocage. Grenadiers hunting it down. Rangers hunting down the grenadiers. BARs equipped and setting up for a slightly more advantage position, and the grenadiers pulling back before they suffer heavy damage to the BARs. 1 grenadier going down though. Attack on the western path. Assault force of engineers with flamethrowers and some BAR equipped riflemen, killing 1 grenadiers, but grenadiers are there to stabilize this position. And we are having mortar fire going in, but not retreating it. For a bit of reinforcement does leave it a bit vulnerable. Riflemen slowly advancing, taking quite a bit of fire, of course. Rifle, MP40s and mortars, and quite a lot of wounded already. Forced to retreat and leaving behind a BAR rifle, but will the enemy pick it up, or will he be so kind as to leave it for me? MG42 still here, setting up my new mortar to bombard this and knock it out. Riflemen moving in from the east, clearing away the enemy mortar team and gaining veterancy 1 in the process, and retreating after having lost 1 man, since I can't really deal with all of this. And we see riflemen holding the position here, taking a few losses to a steel grenadier, and suppressing the grenadiers and quickly pinning them down as well. half-track holding back and repairing mortar fire raining down on the MD-42 position in the building and forcing them to pull back. Riflemen getting out of there, retreating towards the half-track for a bit of reinforcements. German force moving in, losing a lot to the mine. In fact, looks like the pioneer team was killed in the process. Half-track being manned and 50 cal opening fire, gaining veterancy 1 for the half-track. Can't entirely remember what it does though at the moment, and we see the Rangers moving in, compelling the German forces into a full rout. Again, not much of an effort and sort of piecemeal attempts at taking the eastern side. And of course a bit of a failure to actually use minesweepers to clear out some of all those mines I laid down. On the other hand, we are seeing a lot more half-tracks than one usually does in a game from both sides. Rangers going for the strategic point, and we see a grenadier team moving in from the west across the crossroads and quickly finding themselves on the open against a rifleman team with BARs, and now of course a half-track as well, opening fire with its 50 caliber gun. Grenadiers going down, bit of slow rotation on that 50 caliber mount.
We are losing a sector,
but moving forwards. And now Grenadiers are moving in larger number. Plenty of Panzertracks, apparently very keen on dealing with those half-tracks of mine, although at the cost, of course. And this mine's once more being dodged, just barely. Quite interesting, actually. But not too much anti-infantry power with that Panzertrack, though. And we see the half-track setting up in a nearby position. Setting up for perhaps a Panzerfaust shot or not. But we see riflemen getting out of the half-track and immediately taking severe losses to fire from the German troops, but getting into the building and opening fire. Joined in by the half-track with its 50 caliber gun. Two riflemen though going down, and we see a successful breach in the west, even netting me a heavy machine gun of the German kind. Riflemen getting out of the building, heavily wounded but not retreating, getting back to the half-track for reinforcements, while the half-track is continuing to provide fire support. Doing quite a lot of damage, and we see the Volksgrenadiers once more hitting a mine. Half-track trying to get out of there and being knocked out by the Panzertrack, but not before the riflemen gained a few more members. And veteran C2, meaning they have increased damage as well now, I do believe. Oh no, wait a minute, they take less damage. Veteran C3 is increased damage, I apologize. But a large grenadier force moving straight into the men equipped with automatic weapons, a really bad idea. General rule of thumb, you don't want to run at troops equipped with automatic weapons unless it's the LMG-42. Someone reporting to his sergeant he has a bad feeling about this, and the engineers jumping from building to building using their flamethrowers against the German troops, who are of course quite flammable with Veteran C2. So this could very easily end up bad for some of these grenadiers, and yes indeed, one catches fire and apparently
200 points left.
Gets cut in half. Quite interesting. And a grenade going in but not hitting anything. The engineers having decided that discretion is the better part of valor there. Another grenadier assault force, 5 men from 2 teams. Certainly not looking good. Riflemen pulling back, but there are still mines and still a engineer team with a flamethrower nearby. So let's see what happens. Not taking very much damage and not being suppressed. Instead doing a lot of damage, giving the engineers with the Panzertracks and forcing them to retreat. But Rangers moving in for a counter-attack alongside some riflemen, so certainly not going to be up for long. Thompson submachine guns blazing away. Not looking good for the grenadiers, and we see a howitzer barrage being called in on the German positions, not hitting anything but certainly scaring them away. Moving in on these grenadiers, setting up the riflemen to provide fire support, while these Rangers will be moving closer and closer, a bit of the cover being blown away by bazookas. But Grenadiers certainly not in a good position, outnumbered, with Rangers moving closer and closer with their MP40s. And there we go, getting out of the cover and trying to drop a grenade, but instead compelling the Rangers to get closer with their submachine guns, which ends very badly for the Grenadiers, losing men, leaving one behind, screaming for his comrades as they run away, pulling back for further defensive positions while taking heavy American fire. Rangers moving closer, although taking a bit too many losses this time around and forced to retreat. Well, they certainly did a good job, I dare say. Grenadiers pulling back once more, and we see a Panzer command going up. So what will it be? Ostwind, Panther or Panzer IV? We will have to see, although in most cases players tend to go for the Ostwind, although that is not something I necessarily agree with. The Ostwind being a bit circumstantial. And there we go, a third half-track. I decide not to give up on the venerable M3 half-track and instead call in a third one to mechanize my forces and give myself a bit of offensive punch. And there we go, a Panzer IV, Panzerkampfwagen 4, Ausführung G, I believe, G, which was the major variant used during Normandy, although there were a few of the older H and I believe a few of the newer J variant. Then again, I might be wrong in the variants, so I do apologize. It can happen, things like that. Panzer IV charging in, although a bit too close, and gets sticky bombed. You generally don't want your Panzer IVs to charge right into your enemies, in particular since those machine guns are mostly for show at the moment. So instead it gets sticky bomb, damaging the engine and leaving it in a very nasty situation, as now anti-tank guns and Rangers are moving in for the kill, as the Panzer IV is currently now just a wounded beast. Riflemen moving in, trying to rush for this building, and there we go.